Hey, it's Ethan Skolnick from 5 on the Floor on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. This is the latest season ticket. So in somewhat stunning news, because this was telegraphed a little bit, but you didn't really think it was going to happen, Kevin Durant has requested a trade from the Brooklyn Nets. Of course, there's been that circus going on with Kyrie Irving and whether he would opt in or opt out, how reliable he would be. Kevin Durant, one of the top 5 players of his generation over the past 10, 11, 12 years, who had a meeting, by the way, with the Miami Heat in 2016 when he was a free agent. Erik Spoelstra prepared everything for that meeting, told Kevin Durant how they would make him the most efficient he could possibly be in the same way they did with LeBron James. And I was told at the time that KD was extremely impressed with the Heat. They just didn't have enough good players at the time. And, of course, that's the summer that Dwayne Wade left for Chicago. But reportedly, 2 of the teams on Kevin Durant's list are the Phoenix Suns and the Miami Heat. Phoenix makes a lot of sense. He's got a very close relationship with Devin Booker. That goes back to their time on Team USA. They obviously have Chris Paul there already. And DeAndre Ayton, we know, is a player that could be sent the other direction. He's been having issues with the Suns and is not expected back. The question is, Miami, what could they give up and what could entice him? And this is what I think Heat fans have to recognize, okay? You have Jimmy Butler. That's a contract that could match. This is known as the Jimmy build. Are you going to trade Jimmy Butler? I mean, you get better going from Jimmy Butler to Kevin Durant. Do you get that much better, particularly with some of the time that Durant's missed in recent seasons? So everybody's going to go to the next guy, Bam Adebayo. And I would just caution you about this. I don't know why Kevin Durant would want to come to Miami if Bam's not here. That's the guy he really likes. They became extremely close on the Olympic team. He has great regard for Bam. I recommend you look up some of the videos that have been out there where he's talked about Bam and Bam's upside. I don't know that KD would want to come down here to just Jimmy Butler in a stripped-down roster. So if the Heat are going to get into this mix, KD basically has to demand he wants to go to Miami. I think that's the way this has to play out. We've talked about this on 5 on the Floor and so many times. The way that the Heat get their players, the way that Pat Riley does this, he's a scavenger, okay? He waits for guys to get irritated with their current situations, and he swoops in. He needs a guy to ask out to his spot. We've been waiting for this with Bradley Beal and Donovan Mitchell. Well, this is a much bigger whale. This is an orca. This is the type of player, Pat Riley can put this one up on his mantle along with Shaq and LeBron and all of the others and say, I got you, KD, towards the end of the career. So he will do, I believe, everything necessary to try to get this done. But, of course, you have to entice Brooklyn with a trade. It's important that the Heat have as many unlocked picks as possible because it's clear that Brooklyn's going to go into a full rebuild if they trade Durant, and likely Kyrie as well is moved. And so I believe Riley will do everything possible, but the question is, can you make it where it's worthwhile to KD? Because the reason he didn't want to come in 2016 was the cupboard was bare. The cupboard may be bare again, okay? You have to be able to somehow keep Bam and Jimmy. And this reminds me in a lot of ways of the Shaq trade in 2004, where they didn't know that Shaq was going to be available. Riley actually went out to talk to Jerry Buss, then the owner of the Lakers, and Buss was trying to get Riley to come back to Los Angeles, mentioned that Shaq could be available, but then it was, okay, if Shaq's going to come, Shaq wanted to play with Dwayne. Everybody else was traded, Caron Butler, Lamar Odom, Brian Grant. He wanted to play with Dwayne. I don't see KD coming unless Bam is here. So when you're doing your trade machine stuff, try to find another way to do it. If it does end up being Bam going another direction for KD, I will just say this, I will be surprised. But I also know at this stage of his career, Pat Riley is going to do everything possible to get the biggest whale he can and to try to win a championship in the next season. Ethan Skolnick for 5 on the Floor, the latest season ticket. We will have a streaming show coming up at 5:30 and, of course, coverage all night on the podcast channels and also on the YouTube channel.